Some say you don't win anything with kids, but Chelsea have been busy signing young talents from around the world. Joe Pedro, Delap, Jimmy Gaitens, now Gerald Hato. Can the Blues win the 2025-2026 English Premier League title with their young squad? With that I say, welcome to Beyond the Score here on Atlantic TV. My name is Chimobin Zeramobi. I'm not alone in the studio. I've got Eddie Ville, the Olu of Sport. Hello, Eddie.
Hello, Chimobi. Thanks for having me today on set.
All right. Now, we'll start off with basketball first, where the D Tigers of Nigeria did us proud on Sunday as the D Tigers won their 5th consecutive Afro Basket Championship for women. It certainly was a huge night for Nigeria.
It was another huge night for Nigeria female athletes, just like we were celebrating
The Falcons.
the Falcons a few weeks ago. Though I already expected them to clinch that title, they are one of the best teams in the world. The female basketball players are one of the best teams in the world from my own perspective. So I already expected that win, and it was a great game.
Indeed, it was a very fabulous Sunday as Nigeria defeated Mali in the final of the 2025 Afro Basket Women Championship. It ended 78 to 64 points. The fact that Nigeria had to actually come into the game in the last two quarters, quarter 3 and quarter 4, tells you that the Malians really brought the game.
Yeah, they brought out their A game, and they did as best as they could. But basketball is a game that the second half of the game, which consists of the third and the fourth quarter, is the decisive aspect of the game. And the female basketball team, they knew what they were doing, they understood their assignment, and they came ready.
They came in ready, 29 games unbeaten and 10 years unbeaten. That's the kind of numbers that will want to make you excited as an athlete.
Now, you really need to be excited. You see, 10 years of being unbeaten. Now, if you go back a decade, you'll see that these players are not even the same players from 10 years ago. We just have one or two players there, not the same players. So this gets to tell you that the team is robust. The team is a great team. They are building up a legacy that the new generation of players are picking up from there. Because since 2015, no loss. That's a huge one.
I mean, you got to give the coaches the credit how they handle the transition from the younger players and the older players. They are mixing it and gradually allowing the older players to take the backstage, and of course, the younger players take the main stage itself. It's really impressive.
Very impressive, very impressive. The coaching staff and all the technical crew there, they are doing an amazing job.
And then Nigeria also booked a spot at the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup as a result. This is another huge one for them.
Now, this is it's a very huge one. It's a big one. This is the stage where which the female basketball team can conquer. Yeah. I am rooting deeply for them. The last time in the Olympics,
they really went far. The first African female team to go that far.
And we're only to be knocked out by the best basketballing nation in the world, the United States of America, and they didn't go down without a fight. They fought till the end. So I am really anticipating them doing wonders come this next competition.
Look at Coach Rena Wakama. She has really handled this team with grace. She's, by the way, the first African woman to win the Afro Basketball Championship for women 5 times in a row. Big ups to Coach Rena Wakama for handling this team, and you can tell the bond between the coach and the players. That level of bond is something that can really help a team move forward.
Exactly. See, as a coach, you need to have the trust and the respect of your players. If you don't have those, I don't see, you can be the best coach in the world, but you will not achieve anything with that team.
All right, let's move away from basketball now and talk about track and field, where Tobilola Amusan won the 100 meters record at the Athletics Federation of Nigeria meet in Yaba, Lagos. I mean, she's obviously retained her title. And I look at the field in Nigeria, especially for female, it's kind of hard to find a strong competition for Tobilola Amusan. She's like in a level of her own right now.
Yeah, she's currently, she's, like you said, she's on a level of her own. She's on her own league. She's playing her own league. But I think we're currently having some good young stars trying to catch up. I think the lady that came in second, did that in 13.03
seconds.
seconds. So it's not that close, but at least it's a promising record timing compared to what Toby Amosun ran in that competition. So let's see how these youngsters can be groomed and further brushed up to be able to meet up to the standards of Toby Amosun and even supersede that standard.
You know, look at the time of 12.57 seconds. That's here in Nigeria, and it looks good. But when you take that and you put it on the world stage,
yeah,
you'll be asking yourself, shouldn't we be pushing for sub 10 seconds for 100 meters?
Now, sub 10 seconds is always good. But let's look at female athletics. It's quite unusual to always have sub 10 in the female category. In the male category, yes, but in the female category, sub 10 it's not something you see every other day. But again, pushing for the best is always the best option. So let's see, we are encouraging our youngsters to keep training, to keep pushing, keep their focus and their attention at the right places, and just keep pushing themselves so that they will give us the best that they can offer.
All right, away from track and field now to football transfers as it connects Nigerian players. We'll talk about Demola Lookman. On Sunday, Lookman, the African Footballer of the Year and Nigeria International, confirmed that he has indeed handed in a transfer request at Atlanta. Now, he said that happened after the club repeatedly broke promises that were made to him last season. He said there's a sort of understanding that if a deal or an offer that is reasonable comes in, the club will accept it and allow him go. Now, if we are to go by what we know already, Inter Milan have made a bid of 45 million euros. Initially, it was 40 million euros. They opted to 45 million euros, 42 million euros upfront, and then 3 million euros in add-on. But it appears that Atlanta are not having that. Atlanta saying it's either 50 million euros or 50 million euros. It has to be 50 million euros. Yeah. And now that obviously is an amount that Inter feel they can not afford at this point in time. We talked about Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, the fact that they need to avoid scenarios like the one that played out with Napoli and Victor Osimhen and other African players in time past. It appears that this is something that they are not willing to change anytime soon.
Like, you know, when I saw this, when the news came out, I was just asking myself, what's happening in Italy? What's happening in Italian Serie A? What's happening with our African players? You see, these guys, they go in there, they give in their all. Why is it that when it's time to leave, you treat them as if they don't have a right to leave? For crying out loud, he has given them his best. Over the years, he has been loyal to the team. Now he feels like there is an offer that suits him, that he wants to take his game somewhere else. He should be allowed to, when the club is able to meet arrangements with his current club. But now it's as if they are treating them in such a way that they believe, just like what happened with Victor Osimhen, the fans, they turn on them just in the split of a second, and they treat them as if these guys have not given them their best. I keep asking, what is wrong? What is happening? There is something fundamentally wrong in Italian Serie A, and it needs to be addressed before it becomes something else. Like I said the other time about Napoli, African players will start having second thoughts going forward to play for clubs like Napoli. Now, this is another case, just a few weeks apart. Is it that there is a pattern, a repetitive pattern that is going on in the Italian Serie A as it concerns African players? What is going on? I think the world governing body should turn their attention towards Italian Serie A to see how African players are being treated.
Well, the thing is, you cannot necessarily just say, well, they are treating African players bad, but I think the place of making a promise and standing by your promise is very, very key.
Yes,
because the player is still under contract. Don't forget that.
Yes. Now, the player is under contract, quite all right. Now, he is saying that this club has broken promises made to him. You know, there are contracts you sign, and you can also get into gentlemanly agreements. I think in fact, it is also recognized over the world as a legal form of binding contract, a gentleman's agreement. It could just be a verbal talk. Okay, this is it. When it comes to like this, we'll do like this. When it comes to like this, we'll do like that. Now, I think Lookman has seen that, okay, from the talks we had, from the promises you gave me, I think this thing suits those promises. Why is it not happening just the way you have said it? For one, I'm not saying anything particularly bad is going on in there. That knowing fully well that Lookman is bound by contract to be at his club, but something is wrong. First, it was Osimhen, same Syria A. Now, Ademola Lookman, African's best player of the year, the current best player of the year. Still the same Syria A. Still the same playbook. Fans turning on the players
the fans
in a
just
split of a second.
Yeah, I mean, they just went to their base and just wrote ungrateful.
You just see.
You
Okay,
don't just wake up and from one side and say the player is ungrateful.
Let's assume that the player has even made a mistake. Is this how you treat people who have been loyal to you?
Well, I think that's a conversation that will be had in weeks and probably months to come, because we are yet to hear the last of these. And then I think there may be other instances that also need to be addressed. So, but let's move away from that now and talk about Chidera Ejike. We're just 2 weeks away before the new Spanish La Liga season gets on the way, but he has picked up an injury that is expected to sideline him for 10 days. Last season, he wasn't available for major part of the campaign because of the injury he picked up. And now this new season is just about 2 weeks away. He has coped another injury, although his club have expressed optimism that he will be available just before the league campaign gets underway. Let's talk about Ejike. He is a very talented player.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to dribbling, he's that good. Well, I'm looking at him making a transition from being a player capable of dribbling to a player capable of opening up opportunities for his teammates and being regular for his teammates. That is something that he has not done for a while now.
In fact, that is what a player is needed to do, or a player of his position and capacity. That is what is needed of him to do. Be a playmaker, create those chances. And when the need be, you can also finish those chances. And you can only be that when you are in top form. And to be in top form, you need to be in good shape and have games to play. But currently, we've seen injury setting him back here and there. But we thank God that this the latest injury is not going to last him more than 10 days. He's expected to recuperate in about 10 days or so. But let's just see what the new season have for him. He needs to put in more work. He needs to stay more focused and disciplined. So let's see how everything pans out for him. But we wish him well. We hope he does well for this for his side, the Sevilla side, for this 2025-2026 season.
And you look at Sevilla, the contingent, Nigerian contingent at the club. Okay, they've got Jerome Adams, Akor. They've got Kelechi Iheanacho. And I'm asking this question: having that number of Nigerians at the club should somehow make us a little bit worried, because if they are not if they are not getting regular playing time, it also affects the senior national team of Nigeria, don't you think?
It's obviously, but it's no fault of the club themselves. So, but all we just need to do now is just for our boys to be able to put themselves in a good fit, so that the club sees them in that light.
All right, so let's move our attention away from Sevilla and talk about Manchester United. They won the Premier League Summer Series in the United States at the weekend. Of course, on Sunday, they played a 2-2 draw with Everton. And their final game, Bruno Fernandes opening scoring from the penalty spot. Well, when you look at Manchester United and how they've handled themselves during the Summer Series in the United States, it's an improvement compared to what it was last season.
Yeah, a very huge improvement. I know the last time I told you Manchester United escaped relegation by the Whiskers. You said, no, it's not by the Whiskers. So I would want to tell you here today, by their standards set by Manchester United, they escaped relegation by the Whiskers. But now we've seen that for this preseason outing, they've been doing extremely well. They've been playing good games, having good, utilizing good scoring opportunities. And Bruno Fernandes, I think this is the second time he's scoring a brace, if I'm not mistaken. This outing, yeah, I think
During the summer series,
during this summer series, I think he has scored a brace.
Yeah, so he's done that before now.
Yeah, so now he scored another brace. This is what we want to see for Manchester United. Not the kind of outing they had last time. Even though I'm not a Manchester United fan, I would want to see good football from Manchester United. And I think they've started in the right direction. Let's hope they continue and able to improve in themselves going forward into the next season.
And I'm still concerned that Bruno Fernandes is still the one getting the goals. Because that's the thing. I mean, if Bruno Fernandes is still the one getting the goals, doesn't that mean that the rest of the team is still yet to chime in and come to that point where they have to start contributing their own goals?
Now, for Bruno Fernandes to get goals, it means that somebody has created those opportunities for the goals to come. And it just happened to be that Bruno Fernandes has been the one utilizing those opportunities. Me, I don't have a problem with him scoring the goals, but the fact is that somebody needs to be creating those goal-scoring opportunities, and another person needs to be at the other end, finishing those goal-scoring opportunities. It just happens to be that Bruno Fernandes has been the one having those good finish currently. So all the best to him. But I think every other player needs to step up, especially the Manchester United forwards.
Well, last season certainly was a very, very bad one for United. I mean, that was their worst campaign, barring the season that they got relegated. You have to go back to the 1973-1974 season. It's expected that this year, I think, or this new season, they will do a lot better. But let's move on from that now and talk about Chelsea. They are signing. Gerald Hato has come in for £37 million. The Blues are certainly onto something.
Now, you know what? See, like everybody wants that title. Everybody wants the Premiership title. Liverpool, everyone is coming at them. So, but for you to come at them, you'll need to put your house
in order.
And that is what Chelsea is trying to do. Even though Liverpool themselves, they are performing wonders when it comes to the transfer market. But you see, every other team needs to. People are increasing their team depth, ensuring that they have adequate replacements with their benches ready to take up the challenge, just as good as their first 11. So this is another good one for the Chelsea side. We just hope that these monies that they are spending turn out to give them what they expect.
There is this saying that you don't win anything with kids. I'm looking at Liam Delap, Gerald Hato, Joe Pedro, Jimmy Guytons. These are all young players, and I take them and I compare them straight with that of Liverpool, and I compare that with that of Manchester City. Can Chelsea really win the title with these young players?
Now, this is not just having young players all through the team. It's having mixed players. I think there was a time where Barcelona, one of the peak points of Barcelona in the mid-2000s to a little bit over 2010, 12, 13, 14. There was a mixture of very young, talented players from the Barcelona academy, teaming up with the experienced players like Puyol, Xavi, Iniesta, and the likes that you have. There's always a place for the youngsters to mix.
But Chelsea really doesn't have those crop of experienced players, quote unquote. I'm not saying that their players are not good, and let's not take it out of context. I'm saying that Chelsea do have some really experienced players, but how many of them are really title winners? Go through the entire squad. They are so-called experienced players. How many of them have experience when it comes to winning a title?
Now, you only have experience winning a title when you start winning a title. Now, let's go back to the Manchester City side that started this campaign of Man City that gave them their first title in recent years. In fact, that team had no winning experience under their belt. But when the win came, it picked up from there. So you can't write anybody off when it comes to things like this. These guys can just surprise you. These days, the youngsters are doing amazingly well in every ramification of life. So let's just hope that the young Chelsea team is going to do and deliver greatly when it comes to football for Chelsea team this season.
All right, we'll move on from that story now and talk about Alexander Isak. I mean, last week he went AWOL, but he's back at Newcastle United training. And obviously, Liverpool had a bid rejected, £110 million rejected. We understand that Newcastle are angling for something closer to £150 million for Alexander Isak. That's mind-boggling.
That's massive. It's massive. You know, I think he even went out. He traveled down to
Real Sociedad
to use their training facility without taking proper permissions and all this. But maybe he was thinking that a deal was going to come true for them. But personally, I think the steps he took were not the appropriate for you. You're still bounded by a contract, and you just went AWOL without any letting anyone know. So, but I just hope everything pans out for him and he does well for his club. Or if a bigger offer is given to his club, they accept it, and they move on from there.
Okay, so we'll move on from Alexander Isak and talk tennis at this point, where Iga Swiatek became the latest big name to fall at the WTA Canadian Open after she lost 7-6, 6-3 to a world number 19, Clara Tauson, on Sunday. Another major upset coming through from the Canadian Open.
Yeah, it's expected. It's expected. You know, this is like the game of tennis. If you are not 100% on your A game, you're going to see a lot of upset, and this is one of such upset. I think Clara is ranked 19 and she's ranked number 3 in the world, and you see world number 19 has kicked out world number 3, and kudos to Clara, because that game, if you watched that game, you would have seen that Clara played a very beautiful game. So kudos to her, but let's see how she's going to perform in the next round.
You know, to think about the fact that the 5th seed Amanda Anisimova also lost on Sunday to Elena Svitolina. It's another major upset coming through from the Canadian Open. We now move from tennis to infrastructure, I know, right? In Delta State, Governor Sheriff Oboriwori over the weekend visited the Warri City Stadium, where construction works are currently ongoing. It has showed that this administration is very committed towards ensuring that the project is delivered right on time. And Eddie, when you look at Warri and environs, that is the major sporting facility within the area. And the fact that that stadium has been out of use for a while, certainly has affected sporting activities in Warri and environs.
Yes, in fact, for the time that the stadium was functioning, if you go to the stadium every other day, you will see youngsters, experienced guys in different sporting categories. All training in the mornings, training in the afternoons, and in the evenings. You see basketballers, you see tennis players, you see athletes, you see footballers, and so now just imagine what has been happening since the stadium has been out of use. Where would those people have been using to do their trainings and all that? But this is a very good one from the governor, and he's promised that he's taking the stadium into a world-class category, which means we'll have more inclusion when it comes to availability of training facilities for our youngsters and even experienced hands to be able to do Delta State proud, and by large do Nigeria proud.
You know, the absence of a major sporting facility has nudged sporting events to the state capital, Asaba. The Stephen Keshi Stadium has received a lot of sporting activities from the African continent to some national events, you know, over time. So yeah, if when the Warri City Stadium does come back to life, it definitely will be a very, very huge one that a lot of Deltans will be looking forward to. And then Warri Wolves will also have a chance to return back to Warri.
As their home.
Yeah, I've been asking myself, are they going to be Asaba Wolves or only Wolves? Because or Zoro Wolves. I mean, that's where they've been hovering for a while now.
It's a good thing that they'll be coming back to home turf. they are going to be representing Warri, as their name says, Warri Wolf, playing in the home turf. There's nothing like playing at home. No place like home.
Indeed, no place like home. And here on Atlantic TV, we bring you the best of sporting gist from around the world. With that, we'll come to the end of this edition of the program. Join us next week for another edition. I want to say a big thank you to you, Eddie Viol, for always joining on set here.
Thank you.
For Beyond the Score.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure being here.
I remain Chimobin Zaramovi. Do have a great time.